Sam Witwer explains Luke's journey from A New Hope to the Return of the Jedi.
He does, but in the more personal moments, you still see Luke in there. When he's putting on his game face and he's dealing with Jabba, yes, you get this very sort of controlled tone. And who does that remind you of? You know, the sort of, you know, soon I'll be dead and you with me, or saying all these things very calmly. Who does that remind you of? Maybe his dad, and he's dressed like his dad. I mean, if you look at Luke's costume, it's not only evocative of Obi-Wan's, but it's evocative of Vader's, and it is almost the same costume that Anakin Skywalker wears in the prequels. So if you were ever to watch Revenge of the Sith just before you watch this, what's wonderful is Revenge of the Sith sets you up that when you see Luke, you wonder if he's turned to the dark side, if what happened in the last movie was too much for him, and he's become something different, something dangerous. And in fact, that is one of the things that this movie is, holds as a piece of tension, that maybe Luke has been pushed too far. But the in terms of the leaps as these movies and the character's progression, Mark Hamill's, for example, he's neutralized his dialect. He's neutralized his own speech patterns. For example, when he's younger, he goes, "The Force," with an R, hard R, "the Force," and he's talking to Obi-Wan. And as he gets closer to the Force, he neutralizes his habitual dialect and calls it the Force, and creates a more timeless characterization for Luke as he becomes more mature, as he becomes an adult. So Luke, it's the thing we were talking about with The Empire Strikes Back. When you see that scene where he gets his hand cut off and screams, and it's the most emotionally raw scene of any Star Wars movie we've ever had. I don't care how many people cried, how many of the actors had tears flowing from their eyes in episodes 7, 8, and 9. The most emotionally raw we ever get is Mark Hamill when he's hanging on and got his hand cut off, and "I'll never join you," and screaming no, and his face is twisted in anguish. And when you watch that scene, you cannot equate that character with the young farm boy from the previous movie. Likewise, when you see the centered Luke Skywalker, the adult Luke Skywalker, he seems like as much of a leap from the Empire version of Luke Skywalker. So this arc for Luke Skywalker, I think, is about as good of an arc as we are ever going to get in pop culture, popular cinema, space shoot 'em up saga type films.